Doug Mastriano is going to be the Republican nominee for governor of Pennsylvania. Now, why is this bad? Well, it's bad for a lot of different reasons. You can see there he got the endorsement from President Trump. Hardly a good thing from our point of view, a guy that Trump was enthusiastic about. We're gonna get to some different aspects of Mastriano. He's a bad guy, but one that really is gonna matter if he wins and is the governor when the 2024 presidential election happens, can be summed up from a little clip. Let's go to this thumbnail, this tweet I should say. We're not gonna play the actual video for you because you can barely make out what he's saying, but some like one douchebag is interviewing this other douchebag who just won, and he says 20 electoral votes. That's what he'll be delivering. And Mastriano says, yeah. What does that mean? That means he's going to deliver the electoral votes of Pennsylvania if he is the governor. What does that mean? Doesn't it depend on who the Republican nominee is, how they run, how the people vote? No, to Mastriano, none of that actually matters. Because if you recall back in 2020 as a state senator, he said this: there's mounting evidence that the Pennsylvania presidential election was compromised. If this is the case under blah, 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 the state legislature has the sole authority to direct the manner of selecting delegates to the electoral college. This power was given to the state legislature for the purpose of safeguarding the appointment of our president, specifically contemplating corruption and ensuring that the people are not disenfranchised through a corrupt election process. What does that mean? He wanted to decertify Joe Biden as the winner in Pennsylvania and just have the Republican state legislature, which Pennsylvania has, choose their own electors. So he decided, oh, we lost. It would be better if we won, so I think we're gonna win. And now he's not gonna be a state senator potentially. If he goes on and wins in the general election, it's not guaranteed. He's gonna be going up against, I believe it's Josh Shapiro, right? That he's going up against, I believe. In any event, he'll be in charge potentially. He'll be choosing people who will be involved in this. He can potentially override the vote. And as we'll get to in a little bit, he is not the only person that might be in that sort of position. So this is very much something to be worried about. JR, what do you think about Mastriano? You're muted, by the way.
Jeez. So Mastriano and that whole line about how he's gonna be this sole person who can appoint the delegates and electorate to the sole authority to direct the manner of selecting delegates to the electoral college. So he gets to choose himself, openly saying this. First of all, there's lots of underlying meanings behind even these types of statements that these politicians like to make. First of all, that you believe your party sucks so much that you're gonna lose. You're saying it right now. We're gonna lose naturally, and we're gonna lose in a fair process. So good thing I'm here to make sure that we don't lose. Sounds like you're calling your parties a bunch of losers and have positions that people really don't want to vote for. Why isn't the claim when we get to when I get it in the governor's mansion, people are gonna love what we do so much that they're gonna vote for us every cycle. We're never gonna lose this seat again. Why is that not the case? Because they don't care about what people think. They don't care about what voters think. The whole thought process is, I'm gonna get in office and I'm gonna fix it. That's the reason why I guess they still, honestly, I didn't think they really believed that the election was fixed. I thought they were just saying that because Donald Trump said so. But people like him actually believe it, and it's because when they're in power, they would do exactly what is it they're saying that their political opponents are doing, because they're corrupt. Corrupt people only know corruption. There's no fairness. There's no normal democracy in this guy's mind. What is that? We fix elections here because that's what I would do, because I know my policies suck. That's what he's telling everyone right now.
100%. In the same way that all of the right-wing media is like, the Democrats are importing new voters. They're gonna replace, they just bring these people in and then those are automatic votes for them. They don't fill in the blank, which is, because even if this was happening, which isn't, an insane racist theory, they'll never vote for us. Why would anyone do that? They completely tell them themselves. And they're doing that in this too. You would not be electing people whose sole appeal is that they will fix the vote for you if you thought you could win. Now, to be fair, the right is generally not very good at self-analysis, critically looking at themselves. And in this case, they seem to be able to do that. They have looked at the evidence over the past 3 decades. Republicans effectively never win the popular vote for president. So yeah, I would prioritize cheating too if I was them, and they are doing that. Mastriano won, effectively only campaigning on the fact that he believes the big lie, and he's not the only one. In Arizona, the leading candidate to be the Republican gubernatorial nominee is Kari Lake. who was asked if she would have certified Arizona's election in 2020, said hell no. In Michigan, the leading GOP candidate for governor said, I don't know if I would have told Trump that I would have certified the results. So he's at least not sure if he would have, gone along with democracy. In Wisconsin, Rebecca Klefich, she won't say whether she would have certified it. So who knows? Seems important. I would press her for an answer, but we don't know. And by the way, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, you know what those all are? Swing states, important states in presidential elections, and they have gone all in on, we're going to get people that are going to make what we tried to do in 2020 work the next time. And they might actually be able to do it. And if it happens, like let's say jump ahead. Me and Cenk and Anna and Francesca and Jayar are doing election coverage, and well, I guess this would have been like a month later. They're not gonna accept the results. So what's gonna happen then? The Democrats are gonna like fight hard against it. The media is gonna band together and say that this is unacceptable. The Supreme Court is gonna make them go along with the Constitution, with the law. Those are our shields, supposedly. I would argue they're phantom shields. I don't think that they actually exist. And so we're years out. And so I understand that, like, maybe you think, let's just focus on the now. But I already feel it in my gut that this is what we're racing towards. If the election is even somewhat close in 2024, they're gonna pull the 2020 playbook again. And this time they're gonna have way more people on the field to make it happen.
Well, you talk about being years out, and we were years out from other things when Donald Trump came in office, or even before he was in office, and Mitch McConnell was trying to make sure that certain folks were on the Supreme Court, or the certain folks were not on the Supreme Court. They were, as long as they were nominated by a Democratic president, that they were not on the Supreme Court. And that led to where we are now with this draft memo and Roe versus Wade. So when we talk about what's years out, that shouldn't be something that makes us go, well, let's wait and see. It's happening right now. The infrastructure is being put in place to allow that outcome, just like the infrastructure was being put in place as far as the Supreme Court and the nominees to put in place to where we've now gotten, where eventually, I guess this summer, they're gonna go ahead and vote that down, and we have that battle on our hands. So there's no way to overestimate the potential disaster that someone like this could be, and we should call it out at every moment. So again, if this guy has a problem with the election process, doesn't that mean his election last night was fraudulent? This is the same state that you said doesn't do fair elections. And if it was fair, fine, I'm sure he'll say that. What is it that happened last night with the election process that's not gonna happen in November, since you already are calling that it's gonna be corrupt? What is it that's already changed? Is it just naturally changed just because you got elected? These questions don't get asked because people too busy nodding their heads or going, I can't believe he's gonna do this. Ask him how this works. It's a very easy question to ask. He's not gonna answer it, but it's just how, Doug? How? He can't tell you because he's lying.
Really fast, just one or two quick more things. Sophie, it's gonna be okay. Super fast. Dr. Oz, his race, it's super close. Dr. Oz will probably end up being the winner over Dave McCormick, who is the Republican establishment anti-Trump or whatever that matters in terms of policy candidate. So we will see what happens with that. By the way, the advice that Donald Trump has provided to Dr. Oz was on Truth Social, which he's now on. We taunted him so much that he's now actually truthing. Said Dr. Oz should declare victory. It makes it much harder for them to cheat with the ballots that they just happened to find. He's like admitting there that he doesn't think he actually won. Anyway, by the way, credit to the graphics team. I put that in super late. I didn't expect them to get it, so thank you for getting that. But yeah, he's just like, you just declare, they'll let you do it. First of all, it makes it way harder for them to cheat. Dude, you tried to do that. Are you in the White House right now? Apparently it doesn't make it that much harder to cheat because you lost still. And by the way, super last thing, there's been a question for some time to Republican voters. Do you consider yourself to be a supporter of Donald Trump or a supporter of the Republican Party, okay? The percent that say they're a supporter of Donald Trump rather than the Republican Party is at 34%. That is the lowest it's ever been since they've been asking that. The support of the GOP is at 58%, that's the highest. So he's still obviously important or whatever, but it's the lowest level. That is like, we're looking at that very briefly. You know who is staring at that and salivating? Ron DeSantis. Ooh, he's considering running against Trump. Can you imagine the debates? Can you imagine the debates? There's a possibility that one of them will actually drop their pants because it's gonna get wilder than 2016. You can guarantee that.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.